Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Salma. I'm a mom of 6. I like to talk about parenting here and how to build healthy Muslim families. Welcome. Last week has been a bit busy for me in terms of YouTube. I've gotten over 1,000 new subscribers, so welcome to all the new people who are here. I think the pain point of homeschooling toddlers kind of resonated with a lot of people. So I'd like to tell you today about time management and why I don't think time management is your problem. So a lot of moms ask me about time management tips. They ask me in the comment section. They ask me when I run my parenting groups, when I do my coaching. And I've been in the Muslim community working with women for the last 25 years. So I have a little bit of experience in that sense. And this is why I want to tell you today 3 tips on how to deal with time management and why I don't think time management is the real issue here, right? A lot of times moms feel like, okay, I can't get my, all the stuff done. I need to organize myself better. I need to do X, Y, and Z. What's your method? What's your technique? What's your curriculum? What's your way? What's your schedule, right? And so I think we're approaching it all wrong. And I want you to think of your energy levels. I don't want you to manage your time. I want you to manage your energy, because I think that's the biggest issue that a lot of moms are facing, particularly moms of homeschoolers, because we are home with the kids. And so it feels, the society almost gives us this feeling, well, we're home all the time, so we should get things done, right? And there's this high expectation and high standards of, what should we accomplish, and particularly if we've taken on the challenge of teaching our kids at home, the to-do list is never ending, right? There is so many things we want them to learn, to teach. We're, scared of falling behind. Maybe there's well-meaning relatives who are questioning our choices. Maybe there's the pressure to keep up with the kids in the neighborhood who are learning X, Y, and Z, right? So this is applicable to all Muslim moms, but I think particularly those who are homeschooling, we're facing a little slightly different variation of this pressure, how to organize our time, because we are home with the kids all the time, right? Kids are not going to school. Even if the kids have some activities, we are the ones taking them, so we are together 24/7, right? And so this is why it's important not to manage your time, because again, not to manage your time, but like to pay attention to your energy, because that's going to give you better results, because it's often not an issue of time management, but rather energy management, right? So I hope this makes sense. I'm sitting here in my yellow chair, so this is a bit of a chatty video, and when you guys watch these videos, I want you to think of it as like me being a sister friend who's been around for a while, who's raised kids, and we're just kind of having coffee and we're chit-chatting, right? So it's an informal kind of thing. I'm not here out to lecture. I'm just here to share my experience of raising 6 children. 3 of my kids are grown, alhamdulillah, and then 3 of them are still at home, and we're homeschooling, right? And so I have been around for a while. I started this channel many, many years back. When you go back to the oldest videos, you'll see my kids being little, and then you see huge gaps, where nothing was posted. And I used to think at that time that I had a time management problem, right? How come I'm not getting to YouTube? How come I'm not posting? How come I'm not getting everything done? And turns out I had more important things to do. YouTube was not a priority because I was in the midst of raising children, right? And I had to manage my energy and show up for those important things that needed to be done at the time, which was breastfeeding the babies, taking care of the toddlers, teaching the little ones how to read, really getting down, being in the midst of it all. And so I've been only posting regularly in the last year or so. And, my youngest is now almost 9, right? So I just want to kind of give you the big picture, because, a lot of you are, looking at me maybe in a sense of like, wow, she's been homeschooling all these kids, how is she managing her time well? I want you to think, to realize that there is a lot of time. It's just there's not a time for everything at the same time. Like, we cannot get it done all at once, right? And so when my kids were little, I was not posting videos on YouTube, right? And so I wasn't teaching as much, or maybe if I did teach, it was more in person and, different things. So you have to kind of, I want you to relax. Like, as I said in the other videos, there is a lot of time, right? And not everything has to be done at once. And so there will be priorities in your journey. And this is what we're going to talk about today, inshallah. Okay. So number one thing, it's not your time, it's your energy that we're trying to manage, right? And so I want to tell you about 3 tips. I try to kind of structure my videos around like 3 things that you can take away from. And again, since this is a one-sided sisterly chat, right? Like, you guys are not here in person to have this conversation. You guys can take the conversation down in the comments. You can ask me questions in the comments. I'll try my best to be as responsive. But the main main important conversation you can have is with yourself, and probably with your spouse around you, right? As you're building a healthy family, right? And so when any of these tips I talk about, kind of try to have this conversation out loud with yourself, like, okay, how am I doing in this area, right? Use it as a checklist, use it kind of as a feedback, and then again, post in the comment section, if you have questions, and then, other sisters can relate to it as well, inshallah, right? So number one tip that I want you to think about when you think of your time management is to identify your energy drainers and energy boosters, right? What do I mean by this? There are things, people, activities that are draining our energy, right? All of you have been in a situation where you maybe spend some time with somebody and you just feel absolutely drained afterwards. They took all your energy, right? Either because the conversation was difficult, or because it was just time consuming, or just that energy, like you felt depleted, like you did not come out of that conversation feeling better. You came out of that conversation feeling like, oh my God, I have a headache, like, this is too much. And same certain things, certain activities, maybe it's grocery shopping for some of you, maybe it's driving, maybe it's taking care of the kids even, right? Like, but again, certain aspects of it, right, that are draining your energy, that you find difficult, and that is okay, right? And so I want you to observe these kind of things and identify them in your day. Like as you go throughout your day, ask yourself, is this draining my energy, or is this filling my energy, right? And so, for example, maybe even in terms of activities with kids, certain things might be draining your energy and certain things might be boosting your energy. You feel better afterwards, where you've been, goofing around with the kids and you guys have been laughing and playing. That's boosting your energy. But if you've been telling everybody off, it's bedtime and come on, brush your teeth and get ready to bed, that's draining your energy, right? And so activities and people, there's two categories here. So people around you that can drain your energy, and activities or, things, chores, whatever it is on your to-do list, right? And so observe as you go throughout your day, what is draining my energy and what is boosting my energy, and how can I separate the two, and how can I minimize the draining things, and how can I lean into the energy boosting activities, right? And people again. So if you have people around you that are uplifting to you, that are making you feel better, when you sit with them, you feel encouraged, lean into that, hang out around those people. And I'm hoping maybe this YouTube channel can fill a virtual gap for some of you, right? Community is super, super important, right? And so if you're feeling discouraged, like you can homeschool the kids, particularly if you're just starting out and it feels like, okay, nobody around me is doing this. It's too hard. I can't, it's just too crazy. Surround yourself with positive people who are going to uplift you, who are going to encourage you, right? Who are going to give you that boost of energy rather than just take away from you, right? And it's okay to be a giver. It's okay to help other people. But when you notice that it's not coming back the same way, like, that this is just a one-sided energy drain, it's time to do something about that, right? Because that's filling up our time. If we fill up our time with energy draining activities and people, then it's going to feel like our time is not managed well, right? Like we're not going to be able to get to the things that really matter to us. So for example, if you feel like, reading Quran is important to you and that boosts your energy, or, praying or going to the masjid, and then in your schedule, this is not happening, like you haven't done this in such a long time, then it's time to bring that back and then reduce something that's draining your energy. Maybe it's, to cancel meeting the people who are, draining your energy, to set some boundaries around that time. But first of all, you need to identify it, right? So step number one is to identify what's draining your energy and what's boosting your energy. And we're all different. So I don't want to give you my list of things that are boosting my energy or that are draining, because it might not be the same thing for you or me. So you have to kind of really build your own instruction manual on how you function, right? And so if you have a journal, I'm a big fan of journal, as you can tell by some of the previous videos, consider your journal like sort of an instruction manual in your life that you are creating, right? Like you are in charge and you're learning things about yourself. You're figuring things out that are making you feel better, right? And so in that sense, pick activities, brainstorm activities that are boosting your energy, and then take a good hard look at things that you really don't like. And it's okay to admit that. We don't have to enjoy every single thing of our daily lives, right? And particularly as moms, we're home and there's things that just have to be done. There is chores, there is, things about, changing diapers, and there is, giving baths, and there is, just that taking care aspect of it. And we might not enjoy all of it, and that's okay. And certain things will still have to be done regardless, right? But if we identify what these things are, then we can manage our time better. Then I can put, when I have a lot of energy, then I can do the difficult things first, for example, right? Or I can, when I notice, okay, I'm on low on energy, I'm going to try to do something that's going to boost my energy instead of forcing myself to do the difficult things, right? So first step is to identify these boosters and drainers of energy, inshallah, right? The second part, and it's directly related to the first part, as you can see, is to set boundaries with love and with purpose. Okay, boundaries is such a buzzword these days, right? But what I mean here, so once you identify that there is a lot of people around you, for example, that might be draining your energy, that are getting the best of your energy, right? Could be even your friends, could be even, your spouse sometimes, right? And so in certain things you have to, protect your time and your energy, right? And this is done by building boundaries or by setting boundaries. Why do I say here with love and purpose and care? With intention, fi sabilillah, because we're not doing this to cut people off. We're not doing this to be mean. We're not doing this, because we don't care about anybody else. But we're doing this with the intention of being better. We're doing this with the intention of showing up for our kids. So if I've been giving all my energy to other things throughout the day, people, activities, whatever it might be, then I will have very little left for my children. Then I will have very little patience left for my children. I will have very little grace left for my children. If I'm stressed out and there's so much stuff going on, the kids are the first ones who are going to be feeling that from their mom, right? And so this is why it's important to set boundaries with the loving intention, right? Like we're doing this to protect ourselves. We're doing this to protect our children, to protect what's important around us, right? And the good thing about boundaries is that it's a protection mechanism for us, right? Think of it as a fence around you, right? We're not setting boundaries. We're not telling other people what to do, but we're making the boundaries for ourselves, right? So if we notice that, let's say, a friend is on the phone and the conversation is going on and on and on, it's bothering you, and you have other things to do, this is a time where it's your job then to lovingly set that boundary and say, hey, can we do this another time? Can I speak to you later? I need to do X, Y, and Z, and that's it. That's your boundary, right? And it's the same thing in terms of, for example, receiving guests or hosting people or giving people, in the community their rights. It is all important, but it has to be in order of priorities. So this is how you're managing your time. You're managing your time by setting boundaries. Excuse me. So, and again, I think there's this idea if we do things for ourselves, if we set boundaries, that we might be selfish. But this is not selfish. This is actually going to fuel us, give us that energy to be able to manage our time better, to get to all the things that we need to do. Right. And the intention here is not to just be mean and cut people off or, delete activities off your schedule, but rather to preserve your energy for the things that really matter. Right. And I talk a lot about being intentional. Right. And we, I have videos here about vision for your family or, what kind of mom you want to be and what is your goal here. So if you are clear on your vision, if you're clear on what you want to do. So, for example, you're here probably because you're a homeschooler. And if you have a clear why you want to homeschool your children, then that's your purpose, that's your priority, and that time needs to be protected, right? If you want to do hifz with your kids, that time needs to be protected. You can't be running around doing 1 million other things and then neglect that part of your life. Even for me, I had a conversation with my husband this last week, and I said, you know what? I need to spend more time with the kids in regards to their Quran, and that means I need to protect that time. I need to set a boundary regarding other activities and things that are draining me, that, why am I not showing up for the kids' Quran, for example? Because I'm too tired, because I'm too busy with something else, right? And so I need to set that boundary in order to show up and manage my time better, right? So first thing was energy drainers and boosters. Second thing is setting boundaries around your self in regards to people with love and purpose and a good intention, inshallah, fi sabilillah. The third point, and this is where we're going to finish off, inshallah, is to realize that this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is not just one little quick trip. This is a voyage. This is a long-term project, right? And so particularly, again, you're never going to stop being a mom, but like homeschooling is a project. It's about 12 years, like if you think about it, or till the kids are 18, let's say. So this is a long-term project. This is not just one day sprint where you're going to give everything and then you're going to be burnt out the next day, right? So you have to manage your energy and you have to manage your expectations, with this idea that this is going to take a long time, right? And so some of you might have young kids and you're like, oh, I'm not getting to this, I'm not managing my time. And this is the most frequent question that comes in terms of time management. I'm not getting to everything that I want to do. And I want to tell you that this is a marathon, that this is going to take some time. And so there will be time for everything that you want to do. It's just not all at the same time. So you have to prioritize. So again, I like sharing, I like teaching, I like being out in the community, but there was a time where I wasn't getting to that, where I was just a mom of little ones. And so when you guys see me now, it's because that season of my life has passed, and now I have time for the things that I maybe didn't have time when I was a young mom, right? And so if you are in that boat where you feel like you're not getting everything done on your to-do list, I want you to just kind of take a breath and relax and say to yourself, hey, there will be time for everything that I want to do. When I was pregnant with my last child, I was 35. She was my she was number 6 at the time. And I had attended, I'm a midwife professionally, and I attended a retreat with some of the midwives from all over the world. And it was an amazing experience. And I was really fired up. I was really excited about, getting back, to that midwifery kind of world, helping women, teaching, and all this. And then, but I was pregnant, I had a baby, and I knew from my previous experience that I wanted to breastfeed, that I wanted to homeschool this child, inshallah, that I wanted still, that I had other remaining children at home. And so I looked at one of the senior midwives at the time, who was giving the talk. And, at that time she was like in her late 70s, like, she had that life experience. And so I asked her, where do I move forward from here? Like, I'm so excited now. I'm so fired up at this workshop. I feel like I need to manage my time better, right? This is where the time management bit comes in. I feel like, I want to get all these things done. I want to be a midwife. I want to teach the sisters in the community. I want to do all these projects. I want to breastfeed. I want to homeschool. I want to, my brain's on fire. I want to do all these kind of things. And then I'm feeling inadequate because, it must be my time management that sucks, right? I'm not getting to all of it. I need time management tips. And she just looked at me and said, honey, you're so young. There is so much time. Like, I didn't feel that initially, right? But once I took some breaths and, reflected upon that, she was right. There is a lot of time. So if you are now in a stage where you've got little ones, and as I can tell by the last video of homeschooling toddlers, everybody is kind of, most of you are young moms, and you feel like, okay, how am I going to do all this? How am I going to homeschool? How am I going to do Quran with the kids? How am I going to X, Y, and Z? Like, your list is full of aspirations, of dreams, of things you want to get to. There is time. Okay. And so you need to focus on things that matter in this season of your life, right? And this season of your life is short and fleeting. Okay. I say this as someone who had 6 children at home, who was breastfeeding for many, many years straight, who felt like, okay, will this ever end? And subhanAllah, my boys are married. They live abroad with their wives. Like, they have moved on from the nest. My daughter is off, she's graduating this year, inshallah. The time does go by. I like to say, the days are long, but the years are short, right? And so the time you have with your children is actually limited, right? So I keep telling you, okay, this is a marathon. Yes, it is a marathon. But when you look at your whole life, the time with your children while they're young is finite. It's short. It's not going to come back. Like, there's only so many years of that you're going to have. And most of your adult life you're going to spend with your adult children. You're going to be a mother of adult children. Like this time of them being kids is very, very limited. And this is where your focus and energy should go, right? And so you need to protect that in this season of life. You need to show up as the best version with your kids. Now, how does that happen? Because many of you are texting me and saying you're tired, you're overwhelmed, and all this kind of things. We'll go back to point 1 and 2. Look at your energy. What's draining your energy? What's boosting your energy? When was the last time you did something energy boosting? Are you having a break? Are you taking care of yourself? And then number 2, how are your boundaries with other people? Do you have people, who are backing you up? Do you have a support network? Are you alone? Are you giving all your energy to other people and nothing is coming back to you, right? And this is how you're going to be able to show up, for your children, how you're going to be able to teach them, how you're going to be able to have grace towards yourself and kindness towards yourself and not freak out in this journey, right? And so when I say there is, might seem like I'm saying 2 conflicting things. I'm telling you, okay, there is time, but I'm also telling you, oh no, the time with your kids is limited. What I'm saying is there is time for your life's goals, but the time with your children is limited. So your priorities should be with the kids while they are young, right? And in order to be able to do that, you need to manage your energy, not time, right? Like you need to be able to show up with your best energetic self while you're taking care of those kids. A lot of moms are just plain exhausted, right? I see this from the comments. I see this in my community. A lot of moms are just plain exhausted. They've got little ones. They haven't slept. They have no help, and then they're potty training, they're teaching, they're all these kids are screaming, dinner needs to be at the table. It's just too much stuff going on, and of course they cannot show up. Their energy is being drained and nothing's being refilled. Think of your phone. You keep charging it, you keep getting the batteries back up. It's the same thing with being a mom, right? And I think in the homeschooling context it's even harder because we are home with the kids 24/7. So it's super important to build in something that's going to boost your energy, right? In the next videos, I'll continue talking, obviously based on your comments and, seeing what kind of feedback I get and what are the most pain points you're feeling, right, in this journey. But I want to kind of sort of hold your hand on this journey and tell you that you can do it. It's just to approach it. There's nothing wrong with your time management. You just got to take care of yourself and, so you can show up for your kids, inshallah. All right. I hope this helps, inshallah. And I'll talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.